Hey guys, welcome to Coffin Nail. My name is Lightbreaker, and for the first time we're doing an interview live, in person, in the flesh, and with none other than Michi from Circus Rhapsody.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to Coffin Nail Studios.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thanks
I guess the first and maybe the last time, because after today, Corona will take us all back to the lockdown.
Both double vax, by the way.
Yeah.
By the magic of green screen, we are indeed 1.5 meters away from each other.
And just boosted.
Oh, nice. And while we have a in-person interview, can you display your cool T-shirt for the camera?
Thank you for doing this first, so I don't have to sit straight all the time. This is my beautiful no shirt from our label, our San Diego-based label, Mannequin Vanity Records. It was Jake, the owner, was just so nice and sent us a big package of jackets, shirts, bandanas, all kinds of stickers and stuff, like a Christmas present. And I thought it would be a nice occasion to wear it.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Guess so.
Just quick pause. I'm gonna up your mic just ever so slightly there, mate.
All right.
And by the magic of editing, nothing will have happened.
All right.
So, mate, today we are here to talk about your new album. Just Kidding came out this summer. Congratulations on it. Excellent record.
Thank you.
Now, I have many notes.
Okay.
First of all, let's introduce the band to anyone who hasn't heard Circus Rhapsody before.
Right. Let's do this.
Can you tell us how many people are in the band, what you all play? Because if someone has just heard one song, you might think that the band is one sort of lineup. You hear another song, it's a completely different genre. How does this band work?
Circus Rhapsody started in 2009 as a three-piece. And this is Eric on the drums, Mahatze on the guitar, and I play the bass. We all sing. And over the years, we had a couple of different guest musicians. Like we had an accordion player for a couple for a while, and we had a trumpet player for a while. And Katie was a guest since 2013. And just joined the band full-time 2 or 3 years ago for the violin. And for the album we asked a couple of friends for the trombone. We got Benny from our friends from Les Cacadochos. We had our dearest friend Masataka for doing the stand-up bass for the rockabilly songs. And all sort of things.
Yeah.
And so we began as a three-piece. We are a four-piece now, and we have our crew, like our roadie Lucas, who has to be mentioned on this place because he's the guy. He drove every time. He never drinks. He pack up all our stuff. So best man.
That's an important element to have in a band.
Oh yeah, and don't forget Ala on the. Sorry, for the cotton candy machine on stage.
Okay, now I was going to ask you about this later, but I see this listed on your, not just on your Instagram or I'm giving a nod to a friend who helps the band out, but even on your website, listed the band bass, guitar, drums, violin, cotton candy, muscles.
Yeah, and the merch guy.
And the merch guy, of course. So now muscles, being a roadie, okay, get that. Merch, definitely got that. Cotton candy?
Yeah, right. I don't know. It started. We saw a band on a festival 2009 or 10 when we started, and they had a barbecue on stage, and give away barbecue stuff to the audience. I was like, this is how you get your audience when your music is not that good. This is a brilliant idea, and we need this too because we started as a shitty punk band. The first album was our first EP was and we said, we need something like that. And then we brainstormed for a while. And when we did the first album, our the artist who did the artwork for the first album did the girl from our artwork, who's on every artwork, like this girl. These two kids are on every album artwork. You see those. And she has a cotton candy, but as a brain with a spine on it, because we started a kind of like a horror punk band. And there was okay, now we have the theme. Let's do Cotton Candy Machine. Yes, this is where it all started. And Ala is the girlfriend of our guitar player. And so she's on tour a lot. with us. And so we said, okay, when you're here, you have a job now.
That's
And since
awesome.
then, yeah.
So, looking at, now you mentioned them, these two characters on the cover
Yeah.
of your new album, Just Kidding, do these folks have names?
Good question. We asked ourselves that for a long time, and I guess we decided together with the audience at one point, but I guess it was one idea to call her Carrie and him Chucky. Mm-hmm. But when you're honest, and when you know the guy who draw it,
Yeah.
you should say it's Kit, because Kit, the nickname of the guy who draw it, looks exactly like those two characters. He just told me once, I just can draw myself and put wigs on it. And so I guess they're both kids, but if you like, you can call them Chucky and Carrie.
Kit can be a guy's name or a girl's name, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, nice one.
Kiddo.
Now, you mentioned earlier getting someone in to play trombone, to play the stand-up bass, and the amount of genres in less than 40 minutes on this CD is crazy. How do you go about writing stuff like that? Do you intentionally write things in different styles? Is it just that you all write different things and you pull them together? Like, how do you end up with something as eclectic as that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I guess we never decided. We are just bad songwriters. we had the plan once that we want to do one genre, but we just can't write the same song twice. And this is how it started. I mean, I'm a huge punk fan. I started with the Misfits when I was 14 or stuff, and our guitar player is really into Stray Cats. He's a rockabilly guy, and the band our drummer had before the Circus was a metalcore band. And this is how it started. When we started, it was like, okay, we had differences, like what we want to do. And then we said, why should we fight over this? We like each other. We love to do music with each other. I mean, for 13 years now. And so we said, okay, let's see how the song goes.
Yeah.
One of us came up with an idea, and then it goes the way it goes. Mm-hmm. And yeah, our last album was telling horror stories, had 21 tracks on it with different genres at all.
Yeah.
And for this album, we just said, okay, let's be proud of what we do. Let's just celebrate every genre we do.
Okay, cool.
And this is, yeah.
And so do you have other styles that you haven't written songs in that you'd like to in future releases?
Yes, actually, we wrote some songs over the COVID time, and January this year or February, I don't know, we were in the studio for a little EP. And there's our first, the idea was to have a funk song, but we are not that groovy because we're rock musicians. And so I guess it's more a disco song now. But I'm looking forward to this one. I hope this will come out next year.
Nice. So will there be a Circus Rhapsody Schlager song? ZSK did a Schlager song recently, so it's possible.
Maybe.
A lot less enthusiasm there than with the other ones.
No, I like Schlager. That's okay. I like music.
Oh, you had to force out that sentence, buddy. But tell you what, one of the songs that really jumped out to me in the first listen to the album was Australian Nightmares.
Oh, all right.
And I'd like to know the story behind that song, and is it because it sounds so much like Nick Cave?
Ooh. Wrong person to ask, because me and Eric, the drummer, are the main songwriters for the band, and Australian Nightmares is one of the songs he came up with. I know that when we were younger, we used to do hitchhiking trips all the time. Like he and me, guitar, cajon, through all over Europe.
Nice.
And I know that he always wrote stuff about that. And I know that he came up with a book one day and said, this book inspired me totally. Haven't read it yet. But I know that the theme of the book is something about living and traveling, and the song is about that book. I don't know if the book called Australian Nightmares. I guess not.
Yeah. Well, I've done a lot of hitchhiking, and from what I'm told, hitchhiking in Australia is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
Because a car goes past every couple of hours.
Yeah, right.
And you've got nothing in between stops for like 100 kilometers more sometimes.
Yeah, I heard about touring in Australia is a nightmare too, because every town is like 3 days driving from each other.
Oh yeah, I mean, like the distance between here and Ireland is the distance of some of the Australian cities, man.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
wild. Well, another song on the album that I found quite interesting was Revolution near the end,
Ah, yeah.
and part of that was in Spanish, right? It's a language I don't speak, that's for sure, but it wasn't English or German.
I guess it was Swedish.
Swedish?
Yeah. You mean the choir you hear?
It's in the second half of the song, yeah, I think, around the bridge.
I guess so. Yeah. This is a song from me, and I always wanted to. We always toying around with languages. We never did a German song yet. Funny thing.
Yeah, I've
for
noticed
native
that.
German, but I don't. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I just swallowed the tea wrong. Just a sec.
My first in-person interview, and I'm trying to kill my guest. This is awful.
What was that? That is good. I'm sorry. Yeah, I really don't like German singing. It's not my style. And after the verse and the chorus, no, it's not over yet.
Would you like a glass of water?
No, thanks. The tea killed me.
He's gonna push
already.
through, folks. He's being brave.
Yeah. Yeah. After the verse and the chorus for the lyrics, I don't have any more ideas. And I wanted to sound it like a bit like Bella Ciao. That was the idea of the song. I guess you can hear it. And I guess we heard a lot of Gogo Bordello at the time.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what if we sing the same verse over and over again, but in different languages, so we don't have to write more? Cool. And so we asked friends of us to translate it for us. And that's why the Russian verse, the second, is translated by our cotton candy lady, Ala. She's from the Ukraine, but she said, "Yeah, you don't want to sing it in Ukrainian, in the Ukrainian language, because no one knows that. So I will translate for you in Russian. It's better." And during the solo, you hear a guy talking the same verse in Polish, because one of our promoters in Poland is a radio host, and the idea was that he recorded it so I can learn it. But I liked the recording so much that I said, okay, let's do it into the song. And 2019, I guess, we played together with a Swedish pirate folk punk band called Banished Privateers.
Nice.
And they are like 12 to 15 people on stage. Like, this is a big pirate party with 1,000 instruments, and we like each other. And we stayed in contact. And I asked them if they want to translate it for me into Swedish. And then they asked if they should sing it. I said, okay, this is cool. But as a pirate choir, I hope.
Awesome.
And that's how this came up.
I'll tell you what, in the next album, if you need a verse in Irish, I know plenty of Irish-speaking punk and rap bands. Get something on there. And you've had a lot of guest appearances, though, on not just this record, previous ones, and beyond just Circus Rhapsody. You've worked with Steve Rawls from Belvedere, which is where we first met at his recent gig here in Berlin. And also you've worked with CJ Ramone. I saw that listed on your website. You worked with him and Pat from The Decline. How do you get to meet all of punk rock royalty?
I like being at the bar. I like drinking. I do most of our concert booking, and this is the same thing, I guess. When the last album came out 2015, so it was like quite a while till we drop out. Just kidding. And in between, we had this idea for a 7-inch, and the theme of the 7-inch was like, I guess the first name was like meeting friends or stuff like that. The name was different, but it sounded too much hardcore, so we left that and called it Sexy as Fuck, Yummy as Hell.
Yeah.
And for that, the first idea was to let friended bands cover our songs. But that doesn't went out well, and so I thought we can instead doing just a come together with people we know already. And that's why the artwork is the artwork of our first album, but drawn from another person.
Right.
So a different style from Ingo, the singer of Donuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who he draw this.
That's so
and
cool,
so
man.
this was the first. This is why you have a 7-inch, and on the other side you have just names.
Yeah.
all names. Like you have CJ for the intro. You have Pat and Stephen, and Filou from the Berlin Boom Orchestra for our Chucky version we did. And who else? Oh, I left someone out. I don't know, but yeah,
That's already an impressive enough list, you know.
yeah, that was cool. I mean, I like to cover songs of friended bands myself when
Yeah.
I'm on stage and stuff, because I like showing people that I like their music,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
appreciate their music. This is what we do when we come to a label, like covering our new label buddies. Just
Yeah.
say hello.
That's
like,
really
okay,
cool.
I know you are existing, and I know we can play gigs together, but to show that you know their music is like, I think for me it's a big thing
Yeah.
to show appreciation. And I mean, when I decided to make punk music, I know that this is not about making money.
Yeah.
And so I just working on finishing my bucket list. And
Who's on the bucket list?
and my bucket list is like places I want to play, people I like to do music with, and stuff like this. And this is why I always working on. Okay, I mean, what I say, one of my first punk bands I ever listened to were the Misfits. Then I loved the 90s Misfits at that time when I was 14, 15. And the biggest thing for me is like on the new album we have Dr. Chud, who was the drummer at the time,
Yeah.
as a guest vocalist on All Hell Breaks Loose.
Yeah.
And when he sent it to me, I mean, we talked, and he said yes, and then long time nothing happened, and I asked again, and then maybe I got a bit annoying. But when he sent me his recordings from his voice, I was in at my parents' house in my old room, old room from my youth. It was like, okay, I sat here 20 years ago and listened to this music, and now I have my song with his voice on it. It was like
wild, man.
crazy. This was like I always say, high five to myself 20 years ago.
I know exactly what you mean. Good for you, because there's been times where I've been doing this show and like, I wish I could just time travel back to depressed 14-year-old me. Like, hey, you see those guys in that Metal Hammer CD? I've talked to them.
Yeah.
You know them.
This is exactly what I live to do.
And so, what's top of the bucket list?
At the moment, touring the US. Mm-hmm. This is like, I don't know why. I guess it's just because when I was young, this whole American music thing came up, and so that's why I'm so happy that we have a label in California now. And the owner, this is the greatest guy. Jake is like becoming a friend just over our weekly Zoom meetings and drinking over a computer together. 9 hours difference between.
Nice. It's what you got to do.
And yeah, we have plans to go over to the US and just doing the tour. And this is what I'm looking forward to the most at the moment.
That'd be rad. Well, you guys have done loads of gigs. You passed 400 gigs in 2019. Now, obviously, there's not been a lot of opportunities since then. But with 400 minimum concerts under your belt, you must have some crazy stories of things that have happened at live shows. Can you give us the top 1 or 2 maddest things that have happened on stage?
I guess I can't tell the top stories in front of audiences. Yeah, crazy stuff happened. Let's say to not kick out of the internet. I can tell a story that's nice. We did a crazy concert once in the West, near Düsseldorf, and they did a festival inside of a swimming hall. Like the audience was in the pool, and the stage was right in front of it.
Right.
So every crowd participation you did with the water. And so
the pool was full.
yeah, the pool was full. They were in the water.
I was picturing like they drained the pool. But
No.
Holy shit!
And that was cool. You had to see this crazy circle with 200 people in one pool, and you had like the what is it called when you get this big circle
A circle pit in the pool.
Yeah, and so you just
A whirlpool.
Yeah, and that was crazy. And like, okay, let's do kind of a wall of death now. So everyone gets out of the pool, and when you count to 4, everyone jumps in, and all the water like splash over the whole place.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Moses.
Yeah, it was like that, and it was hot as fuck. But when we did the last song, we just say, okay, this is the sing along part. So you sing it, and we jump into the water from the stage. I was like, okay, you sing on, and then we went all into the pool, and it was crazy.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
But like, what happens if someone does a cannonball right in front of the stage and splashes up on the? Was there like a barrier?
It happened. We saved the amps before with just garbage bags.
Yeah.
But me and the guitar player had to change strings afterwards because they get rusty. But it's like when you are in those buildings, the air is like too warm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, humidity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll really fuck with the wiring in your guitars and your amps and all that.
But it was totally worth it for that gig. Yeah.
Fucking awesome, man. Now, I'm going to pool these next 2 questions together.
All right.
Because you mentioned, of course, Mannequin Vanity Records. They're your US label. And over here, at the moment, you're with Cortex Records, right?
Right.
And Cortex, for anyone who doesn't know, is punk rock mecca. A superstore of punk and metal and rock music in Kreuzberg here. And they've got some really cool merch and clothing lines.
Sure.
And you guys have some mad merch on your website too. And
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was going to ask you about Cortex, but when I saw that you guys have Circus Rhapsody Schnapps,
Yeah.
Circus Rhapsody Apple Spritzer,
Yeah.
socks, a jigsaw, and of course a chord book. I mean, that's the most normal of all those things. Like, how do you come up with all these unusual pieces of merch?
When we started to plan what we want to do for the promo for the new album, we said, okay, we want to do at least 3 music videos, but with different styles. The one is like typical with a story. Yeah. And it's a story like a sequel from an earlier music video from Dead and Breakfast. Cool. Revolution is the sequel for the video. The second was Circus with just a performance video, and the third was the idea to do it like a television. How you call it? Television markets where you buy stuff. Like, this product is so great. And the idea was to just do it ourselves with our products, but just circus stuff. And so we sat together and said, okay, what kind of merch do we want to have? At least, like, I guess we just did 5 pair of socks. Yeah. So if people don't want them, we all get one. And if they want it really bad, we can do more. But for the clip, it would be cool. Mm-hmm. So, the socks were the first thing that sold out after the first concerts, after the music video. And that was the idea for that. Mentioning the schnapps, I forgot to mention that. I don't know if it's interesting, but I try. The schnapps was the idea. A friend of us was the owner of Elixir Gin, made here in Berlin, and. We had the idea to do a tour schnapps for the 2018 for the 7-inch tour. Mm-hmm. So it was like a package when you go to the merch table. It was just on this tour you had the schnapps and the 7-inch as package. Mm-hmm. That was that.
You guys have good marketing brains. Between like cotton candy, we'll work that in there. Schnapps, will work that in there. So that's good. I like it.
Thank you.
I think a lot of, especially DIY bands or people who play styles that aren't the big budget styles, let's say, that people could do themselves a lot of favors by just having a bit of a business mind, and rather than complaining about there's not a lot of money playing this music, make it fun.
Yeah, I guess so. I always ask myself, I'm a fanboy, if I can call that, and I know what I like when I find a new band. I always be like, okay, let's search the whole internet for everything that is this band.
Yeah.
And when I see a single, the single I like, I want to have a music video. I love to have a live version of it, and I want to have an acoustic video for it. I don't know why, but it's kind of my thing to have, like, you can get the song in many kind of ways.
Yeah.
And I like when people when if bands do that, and that's why we do it.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And I hope that there are at least a couple of fans who appreciate that the way I would love to. And the same with merch. I like if when and I mean I have a lot of black shirts with band logos on it, and I like to wear band shirts, but I like merch.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I do it.
Well, I appreciate that your jigsaw was 96 pieces because I'm also a big fanboy and I have loads of merch from my favorite folk singer, Josh Ritter. And I got a jigsaw puzzle of his. And it's 1,000 pieces and the top half of the image is just black. So I haven't finished that. 96 though? That sounds doable.
Yeah, I guess so.
Awesome.
And I guess we had two of those puzzles, right? And the one is just the artwork of the album, and they say, okay, we can't do this format. We have to do the puzzle thing, and so I guess it's blacked out on the sides as well. Yeah, that's a pity, but they weren't flexible with it.
Well, you can plan ahead for the next album. So before we wrap up, I need to hide this from you. At the end of every Coffin Nail interview, we do a quick lightning round. So I'll give you two options, and you just pick one.
Can I mention something about the Cortex first?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, right. Thank you. I'm one of those guys who are guilty to do the gentrification in the city because I'm not born in Berlin. I went here 13 years ago, nearly 14 years ago, and when I came to Berlin, it was like you said, punk mecca. It's a good word. I went to Kreuzberg. I know everything about it. Like I mean, I am a big fan of beatsticks.
Yeah.
And I was the time when before, but when the Smack Smash came out, you saw all the music videos where they just walking through Kreuzberg. I was like, oh wow, there's the Cortex, there's the Frankenbar, there's the SO36. It's like, okay, I'm at home finally. And the coolest thing is with this album. We work with the Cortex as our label. We did our music video shoot in the Frankenbar.
Yeah.
And the plan was to do the album release party in the SO36, canceled because of COVID. But in the end, it's like, wow, another high five. And this is why this album, I mean, I guess every musician said, oh, the new album is very special for me. But I can't say everything I had on my bucket list when I was 20 is this album.
Well, yeah, man, we've been talking for nearly a half an hour. And
Sorry.
No, not at all. My point is, 3/4 of it's about this album, so fucking fair play.
Right.
All right, now
lightning round.
I'm going to change this first question around. So, Evil Dead or Hellraiser?
Evil Dead.
Mata or Spezi?
Mate.
Leadbelly or Robert Johnson?
Ooh, I can't talk about it after what I Lead Belly. Totally.
Why?
Because I'm a big blues fan, and I know that the whole story behind Robert Johnson is like
it's like a mythologized at this point now.
Yeah, and stolen from Lonnie Johnson, the whole thing with selling a soul to be such a good, and this is not his story, but was a post-mortem his story because someone told it about him to say, okay, we need one face to sell like this romantic character of a blues guitar player, and so Robert Johnson is not the real story. And
interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that because I heard a podcast about him recently. We recorded 3 tracks with Columbia Records in 1936, and then didn't get famous until the early 60s as a reissue.
Yeah, during the blues.
Maybe in between someone added the story to help sell it. I've never heard this before. I'm gonna have to do some digging.
I read a book about it. And I read it there.
All right.
And it was about Robert Johnson, but also about what Robert Johnson not was.
Okay,
who was his first teacher? Son House, I guess he was a friend or his first guitar teacher, and he told stories about him. Like he never could play guitar, and it's right that he disappeared for a year or two, came back, and then he knew all the chords and all the licks.
Yeah,
but
wasn't that hard to get off the radar back in those days, though?
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Didn't see that coming. All right, here's a bit of a simpler one. Real big fish or me first in the gimme gimmies?
Oh, that's hard.
Maybe it's not a simpler one.
I guess I go with Real Big Fish because they do originals.
I know them from doing covers as well, though.
Yeah, but me first. I like that they say, okay, the next one is a cover tune. I love them live. But at the end, I want to support songwriters.
Oof, look at that DIY solidarity, folks. And of course, the most important question that I ask every guest on the show. Star Wars prequels or Star Wars sequels? Not the original trilogy.
I never saw Star Wars, just the parody of Family Guy, and loved that.
All right, that's an answer. That counts.
Okay.
Because I've got a running tally of all the guests I've asked who says prequels, sequels. And now we've got a third candidate, Family Guy. Woo! How about that? Well, Michi, thank you for coming on the show. Guys, Michi, Circus Rhapsody, the new album, Just Kidding, out now on Cortex and Mannequin Vanity Records. Go check it out. And thanks for being on the show, bud.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. It's YouTube. You know the drill. Be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications about any future interviews I post here on the page, because you never know who it's going to be. I don't know who it's going to be. Could be Scott Stapp or someone good. But like and subscribe and there'll be a new interview every second week. There's also, of course, a new episode of the Coffin Nail live on Keith FM. That's KEITHFEM.com every second Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. German time. You can also go to thecoffinnailradio.com for all things Coffin Nail related and patreon.com/thecoffinnail to get involved with what we're doing next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.